On behalf of the Human Rights Campaign, it is my distinct privilege to present this year's National Ally for Equality Award to a great champion of the people of New York and a great mayor, Mr. Mike Bloomberg.
You know, a couple of you had the opportunity to speak right after the President of the United States, but I got the chance to speak right after SJP. Sarah Jessica, thank you for that kind introduction. You know, Sarah Jessica Parker really is a great New Yorker. Make that a fabulous New Yorker. And I can tell you that when she called last spring and asked would she come to a fundraiser on behalf of marriage equality, she didn't hesitate for a second. Her support meant a lot, and I want to thank her for being here right now when we need her, for being here tonight. Now, you may not realize this, but SJP and I actually appeared in a movie together. Almost. The original Sex and the City movie included a scene with the mayor, and I was asked to play the role. Talk about being typecast, and I did. And when the film went to the editing room, they cut the scene. Turns out they wanted more sex and less city. But I don't hold it against her. Seriously, it is an honor to be with all of you tonight. It's an honor to receive this award, but most of all, it's an honor to be able to stand here and say, in the city that I love, in the city I call home, government now allows all couples an equal opportunity to love and marry each other. In New York, government of the people and by the people is now for all the people, as it should be. No place in America, no place in the world is more committed to freedom of expression, religious, artistic, political, social, personal, than New York City. And no place in the world is more welcoming of all people, no matter what their ethnicity, no matter what their beliefs, no matter what their opinion. In our city, there is no shame in being true to yourself. There is only pride. We take you as you are, and we let you be who you wish to be. That is the essence of New York City, and that is why we are the most diverse city in the world and the economic engine of America. It is only right that New York became a leader in marriage equality. But let me tell you something. This issue isn't about one state's tradition and values. It's about our country's traditions and values. There is just no basis in our Constitution or in our civic values to exclude one class of couples from a government license. When two people commit their lives to one another, government has no business standing in their way. And when someone says, why aren't civil unions good enough? Let me tell you why. Because there are no second-class citizens and no second-class couples in America. It's that simple. Near equality is no equality. The principles that have guided our nation since its founding, freedom, liberty, equality, are the very same principles that has driven generations of Americans to expand opportunity to an ever wider circle of our citizenry. Let me take you a little bit back through history. At our founding, African Americans were held in bondage. Many Catholics could not hold office. Those without property could not vote. Women could not vote or hold office. And homosexuality was in some places a crime punishable by death. One by one, over many long years, the legal prohibitions to freedom and equality were overcome. Some on the battlefield, some at the State House, and some in the courthouse. Throughout our history, each and every generation has expanded upon the freedoms won by their parents and grandparents. Each and every generation has removed some barrier to full participation in the American dream. Each and every generation has helped our country take another step on the road to a more perfect union for all our citizens. That's the story of America, and that is the march of freedom, and that is the journey that must never stop traveling. This year in New York, we took a major step on that journey, a step that was almost unthinkable just a few years ago, and a step that was accomplished by winning support from Democratic and Republican lawmakers. I am very proud of that because this is not a partisan issue. Marriage equality is fundamentally consistent with both parties' principles, and especially, I would argue, conservative principles. Think about it. Limiting the intrusion of government into family affairs, promoting family stability, keeping government out of private contracts between consenting parties. When you go back home and you talk to conservatives, you remind them of that and say the conservative case for marriage equality couldn't be stronger. Now, if we're going to make progress in this country, we have to have everybody. And I made that case to Republican legislators, and I think it resonated. But I have to tell you, when I spoke with undecided legislators in both parties, they didn't talk about party principles. They talked about something else, something much more personal. They talked about their families. They talked about what their spouses and mothers and kids were telling them and how important this issue is to their family members. That, more than anything, is why marriage equality passed in New York. And those same conversations are happening around more and more dinner tables across our country. Of course, we couldn't have passed marriage equality in New York without the leadership of Governor Andrew Cuomo, the state legislature, and City Council Speaker Christine Quinn. We also couldn't have done it without such strong and organized advocacy communities, and I want to thank Joe Solomisi, Brian Elner, and everyone at the Human Rights Campaign for your support. I also want to congratulate all of you and the President and Congress for winning the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I'd say we've had a pretty good year, and now we have to put our thanks behind those who what in their hearts told them was the right thing to do, no matter what it meant to their political careers. Now, there'll be some bumps in the road, some setbacks. There always are. We know from all of those who blazed trails before us, not just the great names in history, but the everyday people who marched with them, that freedom's journey is not quick or easy. But we also know that we travel with the winds of history at our backs. Today, those winds are blowing strong, and as the next generation of voters comes of age, a full-force gale, I think, will sweep this country. To me, the question is not if marriage equality will come to all 50 states. I think the question is only when. And let me tell you, I believe it will be sooner than most people think. Helping to pass a marriage equality law in New York is something that I'm very proud of, not just because of what it means to American history, because of what it means to some of my family and friends and their futures. To see their smiles, to hear their stories, to officiate at the wedding of two of my colleagues, John Feinblatt and Jonathan Mintz, and to see the joy on their daughters' faces as they exchanged vows. It's just been incredibly gratifying. I've got to witness what it means for people to experience, for the first time, the true promise of American equality and the full power of American freedom. That's a gift, and one I will carry with me for the rest of my life. So thank you again for this honor, for making America's ideals a reality of people, and for helping to keep America moving forward on our journey towards a more perfect union. And let us not forget that we have to go out and support those people who vote the way we want to in the legislators around this country. We have to give them our votes and our wallets and make sure that they get reelected, because if they don't, then it's going to be much more difficult for others to stand up and do what they know in their hearts is the right thing. Thank you, and have a great night.